number, Melanie? 2. Good job. What number, Justin?
3.
3. Very good. Okay, we have our...
Autism is a spectrum disorder. Some kids who have autism have very mild forms of autism. Others have more extreme forms of autism. It always affects social functioning. It affects behavior. There's a lot of restrictive, repetitive nature to the students, and the impact on education is obviously behavioral, but also academic. A lot of these guys have very difficult time attending. When a teacher's in the front of the room talking, they're not listening because their minds are someplace else. So if they don't listen, they can't pick up the information. Although a lot of these guys are really bright children, and given the right instruction and the right environment, they can learn so much. So that's why we have this classroom, and we have some special materials that we use in here, and one of those is the Boardmaker program that I was able to get through the Kettering Education Foundation grant. And it permeates the classroom. It's a visual system that kids can use to understand their environment, and because they can understand their environment, it makes them much calmer. They know what to expect. They know when things are going to be finished, and so it works really well. Basically, there's a black and white symbolic picture for about every word you can possibly think of: nouns, verbs, parts of speech. And back in the old days, when I was a teacher, you had to open the book, find the picture you wanted, cut it out, glue it on what you wanted to glue it on, and continue that process. It took forever. Now there's a software program with those pictures on there, and it has templates and things that are already set up, where all you do is import the pictures that you want and create so many things that are visual and useful in a classroom where we teach kids with autism. So I'm very grateful to have that program. And the other thing I got with that program is a picture program that has actual pictures. I can show you an example here. This is an "and" book, and the kids are learning high-frequency words, but the word "and" doesn't have a whole lot of meaning to most kids with autism. So I've created these little books for each of the first 25 high-frequency words. I'm in the process of doing that, and this one's "and," and it shows how the word "and" is used. Now these are actual photos, which is really neat because the kids, can see things that are real. And like in a classroom, there's a desk and a book. So that's how the word "and" is used. That makes "and" make sense, and it's easier for them then to learn that word. So I've got all these little books I never would have been able to create without the Boardmaker program. At the pool, we have a swimsuit and a towel. It's also teaching categories, things that go together. So it took maybe 15 minutes for me to create this book. So that's very useful academically. We have centers in the classroom, and this happens to be where we're sitting is our craft center. And our kids would come over here when they had crafts on their schedules and sit, because they didn't know how to make a choice or didn't know how to ask a person for what they wanted. So we put this picture board down here, and these are all the choices that they have for craft time. They can paint, they can play with Play-Doh, they can cut with scissors, they can do beads, coloring books, use the glue, that's a fun one, markers and paper, stamps, all those choices. So when they come over here, what they're required to do is take a little frog and make a choice. Okay, so if they choose paints, then an adult would come over and encourage them then to ask in their best language that they would like to use paints at that time. So it encourages communication through the pictures. If they didn't have the pictures, they wouldn't know what to ask for. Well, the 2 second graders that have writer fusions last year, because both of them are unable to handle the physical aspects of writing, whatever they had to write, they had to dictate. and to an aide who would have to write that down. Typically they'd have to go out of the classroom because of the noise that talking to someone makes in the classroom. So they had to leave the classroom. Or they had to leave the classroom to go and access a computer to do their written work, spelling tests, that sort of thing. This year they have their small writer fusions right at their desks, and they can complete all their written work in there, whether it be dictation or spelling tests, even math worksheets and reading worksheets, and print those off in a real easy fashion on the teacher's computer, attach it to the page, and turn it in. So it's made a world of difference. Oh, well, it's had a huge impact because they can access their education better, because they don't have to leave, because they can be in a regular classroom and still get the work done, because they can work faster, and because they can work more independently with less support. It's going to make a tremendous difference, both in school, and they're only second graders right now, but definitely in their adult futures. With the Boardmaker, I don't think that we could run a classroom where the kids were really learning without this technology. From dealing with behaviors to academic instruction to just in general making the transitions throughout their day, which are very difficult for them. This addresses pretty much every aspect of what we do in the classroom. So it's made a tremendous difference, and I am just so pleased to have the new and updated software that we were able to get from the Kettering Education Foundation. The writer fusions, you saw for yourself, the boys can stay in the classrooms, they can do their work independently, they don't have to leave and miss instruction, and as they learn to use those and in all its capability, it's going to make a huge difference to their education.